Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and I'm almost too scared to interact with the chat tonight because Ten Hag, Manchester United transfer plan descends into desperation with Zidane Iqbal being sold for £1 million. Massive amounts of players for Manchester United up for sale. This stinks of desperation. This stinks of a club that's got no idea. This stinks of yet another Glazer summer transfer window that is descending into farce as another manager is massively undermined. We're going to get into that. I just want to say as well, on a positive note, Stephen Clare, you get the first shout out of the evening. Welcome to the Members Club. Also got an update for you on Rasmus Højlund. Lots to get into on the show tonight, but this is all on Ten Hag. This is the Ferocious. This, to me, has massive similarities with what happened with James Garner, but it's actually worse. Welcome to Members Club, Papa Green. So Zinedine Zidane, Zidane Iqbal has been sold to, or will be sold to FC Utrecht in the Eredivisie for £1 million. I'm stunned by this. Look, we'll get into it. Fred's up for sale, Maguire, McTominay, Martial. There's a few other things to get through as well on the show tonight. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen the video with Rob Dawson from ESPN with Adam this afternoon. It's well worth a watch if you get a chance later on. And it's always nice when you're vindicated by what we already know. I've been saying for years that Manchester United's reputation in the transfer industry is that of a bunch of clowns living in a circus. Rob Dawson this afternoon basically saying clubs rub their hands together with glee when Manchester United are interested in a player that they want because they know they can take them to the cleaners. And it works the other way as well. It's ridiculous. We're going to fly into that, but before we do, tonight's show is sponsored by BoohooMan. We all love BoohooMan. A bit of positivity in the show. Don't forget, use the code Goldbridge. Get 40% off. That's right, 40% off with the code Goldbridge at checkout. Get all your gym wear, relaxation wear, your shorts, your t-shirts, your summer wear at BoohooMan. Loads of reasonably priced clothing with 40% off with the code Goldbridge. And as you guys probably know, as BoohooMan are our promo, they always give us a bit of trivia. So tonight is not going to be any different. You've got to guess who I'm talking about. I was born in Preston, England. I joined Manchester United on the 13th of June 2011. I made my debut in the Community Shield in 2011, replacing Rio Ferdinand. I recently left Manchester United after playing 169 games and scoring 2 goals. During my time at United, I won the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Community Shield and the Europa League. And in the past, I have played in pink boots. I know who it is. I know who it is now. I think you should all know who it is. Of course, it's not King of the Clowns, Phil Jones. It's Phil Jones. 1 million. Okay, thank you very much to BoohooMan. 40% off with the code Goldbridge. You can scan the QR code or you can go through the link in the video description. Raz says, just seen the news. Congratulations to Faz. On a side note, Glazers out. Says Raz, yep, Faz part of the team now. Did his signing today. But at least United Stand's doing some signings. Brian Neal, welcome to the Members Club. I hope when new owners come in and they set a precedent of not overplaying on players, even if it means we initially miss out on some targets, says Joshua Bellwater. And Mark, do you think Ten Hag will walk out if the takeover fails or stalls, says Matt? No, I don't think there's any reasonable chance of that happening. I'm getting so sick of the Glazers, says Connor. Ten Hag had an amazing season and they are fucking him over. Back the manager. Love the content. Keep it up, says Connor. Yeah, I completely agree, Connor. You know, back the manager. But look, let's hit this. There's an interesting piece in the Telegraph that we're going to dissect. But the first thing I want to do is basically hit this shocking story that came out from David Ornstein just as I was leaving Manchester this afternoon, that Manchester United will sell Zidane Iqbal to FC Utrecht for £1 million. Now, I am absolutely stunned by this. I can't deny that this, to me, is ridiculous. Now, Zidane Iqbal's not really played in the Premier League, I would say that. But I absolutely refuse to believe that we couldn't get £5 million for him. I absolutely refuse to believe that. I actually spoke to somebody an hour ago who is a scout for a championship club who I've known for many years. And I said, what would you think is a reasonable price for Zidane Iqbal? And would he be wanted by a championship club? And he said, without a shadow of a doubt, you would have interest in the championship and you would have clubs willing to pay in excess of 4 million, definitely. So if we take 4 million as a minimum, that's 4 times what we've just sold him for. And look, I don't think Iqbal's had the chances he probably deserves, but I trust Ten Hag on that. But I've seen enough of this lad. I'm sure you've seen enough of this lad. I know it's only tour games, but when he has played, he has shown a quality that there is definitely potential there. There are no backstory, bad stories about Zidane Iqbal in relation to his reputation, the way he conducts himself, his work ethic. It's just totally and utterly illogical. Now, I can understand why Iqbal himself might want to go, and people will quite rightly say, Mark, you don't know the ins and outs of this deal. There's probably a buyback clause in there and everything like that. It still doesn't explain why we are selling a talented youngster for what is basically a wipe your arse fee. It's terrible. £1 million. £1 million is the equivalent of a post-it note. It is terrible. Absolutely terrible. And look, I don't know how long he had left on his contract. Maybe he only had a year left. I don't know. But whichever way you dress this up, why has he only got a year left on his contract? It's an absolute shocker. I thought letting James Garner go last season was terrible. Really terrible. But I think that takes the biscuit. United have just shat out the biggest turd deal of the summer, and they'll do a hell of a lot. They'll do well to beat that. Disappointing. Absolutely disappointing. And what I will say is I can only repeat what that person said to me in the Championship. You'd clear 4 million easy for Zidane Iqbal because he's had a year under Ten Hag. He's a Man United youth player. He's got a good reputation in the game. You'd get 4 million and he probably should be in the Championship. So I don't know what United are playing at there. I really don't know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I saw Jack on Twitter earlier joking, well, at least that's $1 million off the 59 million we're going to now pay for Mason Mount. But, I mean, you know what? In a summer where you want things to be different, in a summer where you want United to progress, is this a surprise? Is it a surprise that the headline is one of the worst transfer deals we've ever done? We can't sell players. We're rubbish at buying players. We overpay. We pay stupid agent fees. We pay ridiculous wages. But on the other hand, we're absolutely miserably incompetent at selling players as well. I mean, look, I think the best deal we've done in recent years was mugging Leeds off for 25 million for Dan James. That was a masterstroke. But you know what? A broken clock's right twice a day. So, you know, I don't know. I really don't know. €1 million is not pounds, says Jack. Well, if it's in euros, it's even worse, but it's still terrible. I don't actually have a hell of a lot to say about it. You know, I wouldn't have thought we'd be leading on a Zidane Iqbal story, but I'm shocking. Eric Bailly going for 2 million as well, says Ken. I mean, we're just absolutely shocking. I mean, I would almost be, if I was playing FIFA career mode or Football Manager as Man United and somebody said we'll give you £1 million for Iqbal, I'd say I'd rather give you £1 million to take Iqbal. You know, it's ridiculous. You are absolutely taking the piss. You know, give it to charity. It's not even, that's a miserable amount of money. Selling Iqbal to Utrecht, Club of Utrecht is a joke. Should have loaned him to a Championship club first, at least boost his value. DJ, I can't really say a lot. Stock exchange is slightly dropping, says Everything Carpy. We will talk about the sale process in a moment or two, but I'm actually glad we're leading on the Iqbal story because it's not really about Zidane Iqbal. It's not really about Ten Hag. It's not really about the summer transfer window. It's about what United represent. In recruitment, we are absolutely abysmal. This has got nothing to do with the sale of Man United. This has got nothing to do with whether we're going to be owned by Qatar or Sir Jim. This has got everything to do with our current staff around recruitment. It's bloody embarrassing. I would be embarrassed. I wouldn't have done that deal. Like I just said, I wouldn't have done that deal. I just wouldn't. I'd have said to... If I was involved in that, I'd have said, we can't put that out publicly. It's an embarrassment. We can't put that out publicly. And yet they've done it. He joined same agency as Ten Hag in April, says Joshua. And as I say, the most interesting thing about Zidane Iqbal is he's a great lad with a great reputation. And you know what? There aren't that many footballers that, you know, have that sort of... an attitude and a really good reputation. I'm very surprised. If you'd have said to me a year ago when he was doing well on tour that we'd sell him 10 months later to Utrecht for £1 million, I'd have said, you are pissed. What are you talking about? But there we go. We are shocking, selling low and buy high crap, says Ray. We're just we are an absolute shambles when it comes to transfers, and I've got nothing more I can add to that really. I think I've said enough. It's just embarrassing, and like I say, there might be a hidden sell-on fee, but what if there isn't a sell-on fee? What if he breaks his leg and never plays football again? You've just been mugged off. Only one person who I'm happy left was Woodward, says Callum Collins. Anyway, look, it is what it is. We are where we are. Let's go through that Telegraph article. But one thing I do need to address, there was an article this afternoon about Manchester United willing to do a deal with Atalanta for Rasmus Højlund for £60 million. Obviously, I've been quite well informed on the Rasmus Højlund interest. We've been ahead of the game on this particular deal. We're not paying £60 million for Rasmus Højlund. That's not been agreed. That's not what United are willing to pay. If we end up paying £60 million for Rasmus Højlund in a few weeks' time, I wouldn't be surprised because we are absolutely crap at negotiating. What I was told 3 weeks ago is that this deal would be done if United get it done ahead of Bayern Munich or whoever else goes in for him. This will be a performance-based deal. And what that means is Atalanta might accumulate 60, 70 million eventually if Højlund does what he needs to do. But Man United won't be paying north of £50 million outright, and they may only pay 40. So it could be 40 plus 30, it could be 50 plus 10. I don't know how it will work, but it won't be a straight 60 million for Højlund because that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I like Højlund. I think he's got real potential to be a top player, but he still needs a lot of work. He still needs a lot of development. So, it's like paying full price for a Ferrari that needs some work. It's got no wheels on it. The engine needs fixing, and that doesn't mean because it's an old Ferrari, it's a brand new Ferrari. It's just in pieces. You've got to build it yourself. So look, I think that I don't believe that story. And having spoken to somebody this evening, that's not true. United are not bidding £60 million for Rasmus Højlund. Maybe you should play Football Manager, show them how it's done. If the director of football don't know what he's doing, why don't you give responsibility to Eric? He knows what United needs to be done and what he wants to do, and he knows football, says Nathan. I mean, look, somebody did say at the start of the show, this is completely on Eric Ten Hag, that Manchester United have sold Zidane Iqbal. You're absolutely correct. But you're also incorrect. Eric Ten Hag has authorised the sale of Zidane Iqbal. Yes, you're right. Eric Ten Hag authorised the signing of Anthony. Eric Ten Hag did not fly to Ajax and say, "There's 85 million euros, and we're gonna 10 times your wages. You're on 20k. Here's 200k." That's not what Ten Hag does. He's not the idiot who does the financials. And Eric Ten Hag has not said, "Oh, we'll take £1 million for Zidane Iqbal" either. It's just United being United. Mark, do you worry Ten Hag will want to stay at United if the takeover doesn't happen soon, says Liam G? Look, absolutely guaranteed, nailed on. Eric Ten Hag is our manager next season. People say, would he leave United? He might leave in a year if we're still crap in relation to how we do transfers and who's running the club. Maybe Barcelona comes in. On the other hand, if you want to play devil's advocate and be balanced, what happened to Mourinho when he finished second and needed to go again? They didn't back him and he was sacked by Christmas. So, look, is Eric Ten Hag going to walk? No. Will he be manager Man United next season? Yes. Will he be Man United's manager next summer if things go wrong? No, he'll either walk or he'll be sacked. And this is the danger when you've got recruiters who don't know what they're doing. It's not about Eric Ten Hag walking. He actually runs the risk of being sacked. Because if we have a bad summer transfer window and he picks up a couple of injuries at the start of the season and Liverpool improve, Chelsea improve, Arsenal stay the same, Man City are what they are and Newcastle improve, United are in 6th. And that's if Brighton, Spurs and everyone else doesn't improve, and Villa. So, people... The one thing I'll say about Eric Ten Hag is people think, will Ten Hag walk? If this goes wrong and results go badly, do you not think that certain members of the press won't turn on him? They never wanted him in the first place. When they praise him, they're almost doing it like this. Oh, it's amazing what Eric Ten Hag has done. It's amazing. He's so good, through gritted teeth. Is there a chance that Chelsea are overpricing Mount because they don't want us dealing with Caicedo? I feel they will lower the price after Caicedo deal, says Jubbin. And also, I'm convinced our inadequate transfer activity tells me we are definitely going with a full sale. Let the owners suffer a very difficult start to save face. Crafty, dodgy. Glazers aren't arsed, says Smoggy. Mark, forget all that. Why is he being sold in the first place? Huge talent with a footballing brain. I'm fuming. Club is a disgrace. And how is Eric Ten Hag allowing this, says Backhand. Well, look. We're a democracy. We're the biggest Manchester United fan community. Let's send a message. Would you have sold Iqbal? I mean, you can't put it any better than that. Would you have sold Iqbal? Yes or no? Let us know in the chat. What I will say from what I saw of Iqbal, and I know exactly what he is. I haven't watched him loads this season, but I know exactly what he is. Very intelligent player, physically ready, able to tackle but get on the ball, dribble the ball, pass. Like, I don't understand what happened to Iqbal this season. I don't understand. And I know people, in and around youth and senior team, and you can't get a straight answer. Like, they're like, really good lad, really, really dedicated, really determined, level-headed, grounded, there's talented, and yet he's leaving the club for £1 million. I don't get it. Kevin, welcome to the Members Club. Look, on one hand, though, you've always got to try and get it. Maybe Zidane's knocked on the door himself and said, I don't want to be at this football club. I wanted a chance. You didn't give it me. I want to move on and play football. I don't know whether that's happened, but it's an odd one. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But this looks exactly like Pogba all over again, says Royston. Look, on one hand, he goes to Utrecht. He plays really well. We've got first refusal. I don't know whether we have got first refusal, but we've certainly got a sell-on clause. I think, look, welcome to the world, the planet Earth, right? You can really like somebody and really disagree with them. I can't believe that my wife didn't like Sons of Anarchy. I couldn't believe it. We've watched Games of Thrones together. We've watched Succession together. We watched Walking Dead. We've watched Love Island, Made in Chelsea. But you don't like Sons of Anarchy. I can't understand it. I still love her. We've still got children together. I want to be married to her for the rest of my life. But she doesn't like Sons of Anarchy. And I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled by this. And I feel the same about Eric Ten Hag. I'm like, you've done so much right. Why don't you like Zidane Iqbal? I don't get it. But, you just sometimes you've just got to accept that if we were all the same, life would be very grey and boring. And look, Ten Hag's going to do things that we don't agree with. He got beat by Liverpool 7-0. I didn't like that, but I still back him. Hello, Mark. It looks like this could be a tough transfer market year, and once new owners are sat next to it, looks more realistic. Sad, but maybe true, says Scott. Kevin, welcome to the Members Club there. Thank you for the contributions tonight. Anyway, look, let's move on to this Telegraph article that I want to discuss with you. So this is coming in from the Telegraph, funnily enough, and it's not just Zidane Iqbal who could be going. Let me just tell you though, live, 24% of you would have sold Iqbal, 76% wouldn't. I like that. I like that. Why? Dare to be different. 76% is a lot. Don't want to sell him, but 24% of you actually think it's the best thing to do. So love that. What do you think is going to happen with Pellistri? Will he be next? That would hurt. I'm going to say, what a great question. That would hurt. If Pellistri leaves Man United and we keep people like Sancho and McTominay, I'll be like, what are we doing? And I've got nothing against Sancho, and I don't really have anything against McTominay. I just think Pellistri, to me, if he was under Pep Guardiola, I think he'd turn him into Bernardo Silva. I think he's got that low centre of gravity. I like Pellistri. I don't get why he doesn't get enough game time either. Moises Casido went for 5 million from Ecuador and we're selling Iqbal for 1 million. Make that make sense, says Kevin. Thank you very much, Kevin. Right, let's go through this Telegraph article anyway, because this sort of feeds into the sales. Telegraph are saying that Fulham are interested in signing Fred, which we'd heard about a few weeks ago. United want 20 million, more than Fulham are willing to pay, but hope a compromise can be found. I mean, again, this is United trying to get the you know those basketball players who are at the other end of the court and they're not even facing the basket and they throw it behind their back. That's what United did when they sold Dan James. It was a fluke. They didn't mean it. They just threw the ball without looking and it went in. And now they think that they're prime Michael Jordan. So they're throwing the ball again with Fred thinking, yeah, let's do it again. You ain't getting £20 million for Fred. We're not getting £20 million for Fred. He's 30 years of age and he's got 1 year left on his deal. You're not getting £20 million for Fred, you absolute prats. Don't price yourself out of a bloody deal. 15 million and we walk. You know, just £20 million for Fred. You're having a bloody laugh. How much do you want for McTominay? 100? £20 million for Fred. If you get £20 million for Fred, it's a fluke. 15 million, 1 year left on his deal, walk away. It's as simple as that. Maybe Iqbal thinks Mount will take his future at 8, says Liam. Look, I'm not denying for 1 minute that Iqbal will have asked for a move, but United taking that amount of money is ridiculous. So, look, Fred and Fulham is still a story that resonates from the Telegraph, and they're saying that United want 20 million. We'll have to negotiate there. Also, United are hoping to sell Harry Maguire, although he could stay, but is unlikely to be first choice. Look, Maguire... We are a football community here. This is not about getting invited round for Christmas. This is not about inviting him round for a picnic. I don't know what the guy's like. I don't really care what the guy is like. He wears a Man United shirt. I judge him as a player. He's been here long enough. He's not a captain. He's not good enough. He actually has played more minutes for England this season than he has for Man United, which is unbelievably terrible. If we keep Harry Maguire, it's a sympathy vote. It is. It's not a footballing decision. It's a sympathy vote. Did you ever play football at school, right? Or maybe you do it at your training now. Maybe you do it at five-a-side. I mean, it's not school. I used to do this at five-a-side. You go to five-a-side on a Wednesday night. You know, there's 12 of you. Normally the guy or girl, but it was always guys with me because it was a few years ago. And, you know, the guy who's organised it is normally a captain, no matter how good they are. And then they'll go, Goldbridge, you be the other captain because you're the best here, which was standard. So he'd have his pick, I'd have my pick. And straight away, I'd see the puppy dog eyes. I'd see the crappiest player there sort of resigned to the fact that they're going to get picked last and humiliated. And the empathy in me, which actually does exist despite rumours, goes, all right, I'll pick John. And everyone goes, what? But I know I'm better than everybody else and I can carry John in the team. And I've done my good deed for the day. So I won't let John be the last pick and humiliated. I will pick him and I will tell him just to do a very simple job. When you get it, pass it to me and we'll be fine. That is what happens if we keep Harry Maguire. It's a bloody sympathy vote. It's a pick John before he, instead of kicking him out. Really, you should say to John, stop turning up. You're ruining it for everybody. You're not good enough. But, some of us will take a sympathy vote and say, yeah, you'll pick him first. Yeah, Maguire's got to go. We are not a charity, which is funny because we are. The Manchester United Foundation is a fantastic charity and we do a lot of good charity work. But when it comes to picking the team and the squad, we can't be a charity. Man City are a ruthless eater of... They're a killer shark. They're a Tyrannosaurus Rex. They're an absolute killing machine. Oiled up to the limit. Sharpened teeth. They don't piss about. You know what? They swim through the water. They see a young seal. They don't give it a bonio and say, do you want to go for a walk? They eat it. Because that's how you win. United, we can't be sympathetic. Harry Maguire might stay at the football club, but he won't be first choice. He's on 200 grand a bloody week. What type of idiots have we got working at Man United? The best in the business. Exactly. Harry Maguire's on 200 grand a week. We can't go, he might stay at the club, but he won't be first choice. Oh, whoop-de-doo. Let's keep people on the bench on 200 grand a week who are, terminally insufficient. You know, I can't be doing this. We need to clear these players out. Take the hit. If you're selling Iqbal for 1 million, what's the difference between selling Maguire for nothing? You know, just move him on. Fred and pounds for Polina. Good point. Good point. So look, you know, I've always feared that we'll keep Maguire. If we do keep Maguire, it's because he's unambitious. It's because he's too comfy. The slippers at United are too comfy. He likes the brand United. He likes he likes being asked a question about him in the press conference all the time. He still gets played for England. He's too comfortable. If there's anything about him that's ambitious, he should be asking to go. But look, whether he will go or not, I don't know. And there will be clubs interested in Maguire. Let's not pretend, you know, nobody's interested in. All right, Saudi Arabia don't want him. Saudi Arabia want me. But, you know, I'm joking. But no, there will be clubs interested for him, definitely. The Telegraph go on to say that Fred will not be offered a new contract at United, and Fulham are interested. Eric Ten Hag still wants Mason Mount. This was interesting because I spoke about this morning. Harry Kane remains Eric Ten Hag's first choice as centre forward. So that's coming out from the Telegraph today. We spoke about that this morning. I don't change my opinion. Some of you didn't like it. You know, the story actually came out from the Telegraph this morning as well, a different journalist. So the belief is that Harry Kane wants to leave Spurs, which is correct. But if that's going to happen, he's going to have to go public. United will be there to pick up the pieces, but Harry Kane has got to initiate it. Catch up on some of your chats. Would you take a bad transfer window with the guarantee of Qatar or a good transfer window by Glazers? No, John, I'm not doing that. What does that mean? You know what? I don't want to get irritated, but what does that even mean? Would you let a camel shit on your face if it meant you won £1 million tomorrow? Oh, I'm just off to Egypt to find a camel and I'm just going to lie underneath its arse, and if it craps on my face, I'll win £1 million. It's not going to happen. Don't give me hypotheticals, because it's not going to happen. Why should I? What you're doing is you're subconsciously justifying the crap status of United by going, I'll take a crap transfer window if it means Qatar. Well, you're justifying, but there shouldn't be a crap transfer window. Yeah, we should get Qatar and have a good transfer window. I'm not justifying a crap transfer window by, you know, it's like saying, oh, you know what? I'll justify a cold shower tonight if I can, you know, dry myself with a towel. Well, neither should be happening. The towel's there anyway. Is it time for Ten Hag? That's a rubbish analogy. Is it time for Ten Hag to do a Conte and say to some of these players, sorry, you're not in my plans, you're not going on tour, look for another club, says Glennie. I'd love us to do it, but we're scared. If this sale doesn't go through soon, Eamon Holmes will be selling his body for 20 quid so we can buy Leighton Orient's third choice striker, says Hugh, Laurie's agent. And welcome to the Members Club, Gurav. And why aren't we trying for Kane? Maguire plus Sancho, swap or individually? This is beyond a joke. Harry Kane needs to push, but so do we, says Nicholas. And Paul says, I believe everyone is over-analysing. Nobody expected United to finish third and win the Carabao Cup last season. We would have done better if we had a top striker, e.g. Kane. Paul, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think that's why... I mean, can I just say this? Maybe I'll get clipped, maybe I won't. The way we talk, and I don't think this has been said yet. Rob Nicholson, welcome to Members Club. The way we talk about last season, and I thought about this on my weekend away. The way we talk about last season and what a great job Ten Hag did, third place, 2 cup finals, won a trophy, and then we talk about, you know, Ronaldo going, Weghorst coming in January. The way we talk about last season, let's be honest, we know we got away with it. We do. Search your heart, you know. How many good games of football did we actually play? We ground out admirably a lot of results. We were tough to beat at times, bar a couple of games, as we know, Anfield, the Etihad, etc. But search your hearts, we all know it. We got away with last season, didn't we? We weren't scintillatingly consistent in the football that we played. We very rarely swept sides away. We did it off the likes of Casemiro, Martinez, Varane, strong defence, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, etc. Delo at the start of the season. We got away with it. We got away with last season. Liverpool and Chelsea were dreadful. We didn't even have a striker. We know we got away with it. Last season was really good and I enjoyed it. But is it really a platform for next season if we don't have a good summer transfer window? I don't believe it is. Because I think we all know deep down we sort of got away with it. Ten Hag was brilliant. The players did brilliant. But we did get away with it a bit. And I think we all know if we think we can get away with it again by not having a good summer transfer window, we're going to fall on our arse. So this is why this summer transfer window is so important to so many people, because we sort of got away with it a bit last year. We deserved to, but a lot of things sort of went our way. I mean, we did it without a striker, which normally, look at what happened to Chelsea. Imagine that we could have Haaland, Bellingham, Caicedo and Grealish for maximum 100 million, but we spend this on Maguire, says Bartek. Forget the striker, we have a not guilty 100 million striker in our ranks. Bring back Mason, get Mount, Caicedo and Costa, says Charlie. Charlie, look, I fear no comments, which is not stupid. And I don't think that's a stupid comment, Charlie, but I do think it's naive. Let's bring back a 100 million striker who's not guilty called Mason Greenwood. Yeah, let's bring Mason Greenwood back and throw him in to the lion's den where you can't protect him. Let's put him in a United shirt. Let's give him the number 10. Let's put him up front for the first game of the season against Wolves. Let's get him back in. Because I tell you what, it will be fine. He will be absolutely hung out to dry. You can't protect him. Nobody can. There'll be United fans who boo him. There'll be the media who destroy him. His life will not be worth living for 5 or 6 weeks in a footballing sense, because he will... Look, maybe he's got the mental strength to deal with it. Maybe United can, create a situation around him where it's fine. But trust me, there are a lot of people going for him. If we just bring... You can't just throw him back in, Charlie. My personal opinion is, I don't know what the future is for Mason Greenwood in relation to Manchester United, but from a duty of care point of view, if you want to see him in a United shirt, the most logical thing to do is put him on loan on the continent for a year and let him feed his way back in. Because I guarantee the innocence of youth is that he will think he's absolutely fine, but he's still in his early 20s, and you are a very different person when you're in your early 30s to your early 20s. He needs to put himself in an environment where he can just focus on his football. If United think throwing him back in pre-season is going to go swimmingly well, there's probably a very big chance that it won't. I don't think that can be the thing. And that's not being anti-Mason Greenwood playing for United again, of which I know some of you will be. That's about the duty of care to the player himself. If you want to bring him back, and nobody can stop United if they do, but if they want to bring him back, they have got to think about managing this situation, and not just Mason Greenwood's, mental health, but also that of this fan base who don't want him back. You've got to handle this. I hate the word, but the PR of this would have to be spot on. You can't just ignore an element of football that doesn't want him to play for Man United and go, he's playing. You can't alienate people. You've got to try and educate. That's what United will need to do. Ben, welcome to the Members Club. Mark, do you believe that we'd loan out Ahmad to complete the Rasmus deal, says Kevin. Welcome to the Members Club to... I don't know who that is, actually. And transfer team should be treating this window as an interview, says Ben Ellis. Mate, if our transfer team is treating this transfer window as an interview for the Qatari bid or the Sir Jim Radcliffe bid, they haven't even made it through the door. If this was yeah, you're right. If Qatar buy the club or Sir Jim buy the club and they look at the current director of football, CEO, recruitment team, and this is their audition for a job, it's the equivalent of turning up for a job at a high-powered bank in your, nude, covered in shit, and you haven't brushed your teeth. It's not a very good interview, is it? I feel as if the summer transfer window will be impossible unless the takeover finalises. We will not have enough to pay the United tax on every player, says Sam. Well, let me just round up what we were talking about. This is also in the Telegraph. Scott McTominay is believed to be up for sale. He is contracted until 2025 and is regarded as less of a priority to sell than Fred. Ten Hag is prepared to keep him. He has drawn interest from a number of Premier League clubs. Again, it's not quite the same as Maguire, but I'd actually say, and look, this is amazing, I actually think Maguire has more value to United than McTominay. I don't know what McTominay does. And I know some of you like him. I don't dislike the person, but as a player, how many years has he been playing for us now as well? I mean, I can't even think. Is it 4, 5 years? I'm still here going, what exactly does he do? What is... He's got a good shot from outside the box. I'll give him that. He's good at winning headers. But there's plenty of players in League Two who can do that. Like, what does he actually do? He's fit. He's quite muscly, but he's got the passion. He's 26 years of age. There are people interested in him. He basically is a West Ham player. Sell him to West Ham. He's not a Man United player. He's not a Man United first team player. Look, he could be a late bloomer. There aren't many people at 26 who become United legends, United greats. There's not many I can think of that have been at the club since they were like 8. Sell him. We need money. Sell him. There's interest in him. Sell him. He's not a first team player. Sell him. But look, can you imagine? We're incompetent at signing players. We're incompetent at selling players. We should have Kim Min-jae here. We probably should have Harry Kane. We should have a Declan Rice coming in. We're not going to get any of those by the sounds of it. We should be selling Maguire. We should be selling Fred. We should be selling McTominay. We should be selling Martial. We probably won't sell any of those. Probably Fred. The incompetence is mirrored at both ends of the spectrum. So, yeah, look, I think that the horrible thing about United is they disappoint you in recruitment and they disappoint you in sales. But that article does present and mention every player that should be sold, but whether we do it or not, I don't know. Reflex says it's really frustrating time for us, especially in the transfer window. I just keep thinking, here we go again, says Reflex. Look, what's the saying? We've said it many times over the years. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Like, we're not in control here. And I you know what? I remember saying it in April. I said, how many years have we been doing this channel? And we say it in April and May. I think this is going to be a good summer transfer window. And I said it in April. I'm not going to do it this year. I'm not going to do it because I do it every year and we get disappointed. And what did I do in May when we got linked to Mason Mount? I've got this feeling we're going to have a good transfer window. And I feel like going, you've done it again. You've done it again. You've actually thought this would be different. But there was reasons to think it was different. The Mason Mount story was surprising. It was very early. It was in May. We had hopes that the sale would happen. So there was reason. There was hints that it could have been good. The Kim Min-jae interest was very much genuine. So look, there was reasons to believe it could be different. But ultimately, you've still got the same people in charge, the same CEO, the same director of football, the same negotiators. It is still the same old United. And we also knew that this summer transfer window would only be successful if we sold £100 million worth of players. And that's not something we've done. I mean, here's a question for you. I don't think it's difficult to sell £100 million worth of talent this summer. Have we ever done that? Have we ever accumulated £100 million from transfers? I can't think how we could have done that. Even when we sold Ronaldo, maybe did we sell anybody else that summer? I don't think we've ever sold £100 million worth of players. Chelsea do it on the regular. Liverpool do it on the regular. Man City do it on the regular. I don't know whether Arsenal do. I don't think we've ever sold £100 million worth of players in a summer. And yet we can spend on wages and transfer fees more than anybody else. I'm sick and tired of the Glazers PR. It's a joke how they announce player contracts in the windows to spin away from lack of business. We can't move forward, says FIFA Crazy. And hi, Mark, watching from America. What are your top 5 signings for this transfer window if we were to theoretically sign 5 players, says M. Look, my top 5 players that I would sign this summer if I was in charge and realistic, I would still stick to, I would be... Look, if Victor Osimhen's off the table, it would have to be Harry Kane. I would be signing a Casido or a Rice. I'm happy to go with Ten Hag on Mount. Kim Min-jae would be my centre back, and I'd bring a second striker in Rasmus Højlund. So I'd go Kane, Højlund, Mount, Casido or Rice, Kim Min-jae. And I think, how much have I spent there? I've probably spent I've spent about 310 million there. It's a lot of money, but I could easily raise 130 of that. So that's what I would do. But look, that's overreaching. It is overreaching. I wouldn't get all of them, but we're not going to get anywhere near any of them at the moment. Should Maguire start next season? He has been so good for England. He also better than Martinez, says Ajit. I would cancel any subscriptions you have for football. It's not for you. I'd stop watching the United Stand, and I would consider, never speaking about football again in a public place. Mojo has just gifted 20 United Stand memberships. He is a legend. Don't forget, our second part of our Dublin tour show comes out on Friday. Another 45 minutes for you exclusively on the members section. Mark, you've been saying that we've got £200 million. I believe we will. Look, I'm not going to change my mind. What people don't understand is they judge a transfer window on how much you spend. I don't think last summer's transfer window was good. I think the players that we brought in were good, but I thought the timing, the wages, and the prices was ridiculous. Like, remember, Casemiro and Anthony, we'd already played a couple of Premier League games. Martinez and Eriksen didn't go on the pre-season tour. So, and we overspent on 3 of those players. So, look, people go, we spent £200 million. If we were competent, we wouldn't have spent that anyway, and we'd have had them in for the tour. So I think we will spend £200 million, because one thing you can guarantee about United is we will get desperate. We will start paying silly fees. So we're very good in June saying, no, we're not going to pay that price. We're not going to pay that price. And then in late July, early August, we're like, we will pay that price. And then the club goes, we want another 20 million now. And we end up paying that. Do you think United will release the kit jerseys with TeamViewer, with Qatar possibly switching to Qatar Airways, says Jonathan? No. Why would it have Qatar Airways on it, Jonathan? As I said this morning, I think people are wrongly listening to what came out last week, the video Rio did, some of the tweets other people did, and they're going, we're going to be Qatari. We're not. We're not. At the moment, we're not. The situation with Manchester United right now is that the Glazers haven't made their mind up. And what we're doing, if you want an update on the sale, is that all the hype of a week ago has actually disappeared back to a level playing field again. And where we were 2 or 3 weeks ago, where Sir Jim was ahead, that changed to Qatar was ahead. I still think Qatar is ahead, but in next week, would it surprise you if Sir Jim's back ahead? If you think back over the last few weeks and months, the whole sale process has been Qatar's going to win, Sir Jim's going to win. Oh, it's 50-50. Sir Jim's going to win. It's 50-50. Qatar's going to win. Oh, it's Sir Jim's going to win again. It's the same old story. And I acknowledge it. I think we all have to acknowledge it. At the moment, Qatar feels like they're ahead. But it hasn't materialised. I think that it's Wednesday tomorrow, and there's no feel out there that we're about to get an imminent announcement. There's no momentum behind that. Last week there was some momentum last week. I felt that, maybe we were just about to get there. There was a lot of misinformation out there, but there was a lot of strong indication out there. The share price shouldn't be ignored. The positivity that was coming out from Qatar shouldn't be ignored. And I think Qatar were pushing to get that exclusivity that the Glazers haven't obviously given. And if they got that exclusivity, they'd basically be almost there. But they haven't got the exclusivity. And Sir Jim Radcliffe is open and allowed to put another bid in. So Qatar doesn't have the exclusivity. So it's still a very open race. They're winning the race, but Sir Jim can come back into it. It's not the news you want. It's not the news I want. But that race is still open. And Sir Jim can still find a way. And I think what's actually happened is, last week, or nearly 2 weeks ago now, Al Thani has put a bid in that the Glazers would consider accepting. And he's then said, can we move to exclusivity now so you don't accept any other bids? And the Glazers have clearly said, no, let's see what Sir Jim's got to say. And now Sir Jim is probably working 24/7 with his team to come up with a new plan that will give the Glazers a little bit more to make them go, oh, we'll take that bid. And then they'll go back to Al Thani and go, look, he's got a better bid than you now. Are you going to do anything? And unless Sir Jim or Al Thani pull out, this can just keep going like this back and forth forever. That doesn't... And people keep saying, well, it's not fair. That's not fair. They shouldn't be allowed to do this. Are you allowed to sell your pair of trainers to whoever you want? Are you allowed to say to that person, I like that price, but they want more? Oh, you're offering more. They're offering more than you. You can just keep going back and forward. Like, there are no rules on this. This could go on for 3 or 4 years. It could go on for 3 or 4 days. But they will not step into exclusivity with either bidder. So Jim probably wanted exclusivity 3 weeks ago. Althani wanted it a week ago. They won't step into exclusivity. So I understand last week. I was part of it. I understand last week why there was a lot of excitement that, this was going to happen. But clearly the Glazers at this point will not go into exclusive negotiations with either party. So they're just keeping it open. And I would guarantee you right now, Sir Jim Radcliffe and his team are working on an offer to make them more competitive than Althani. And that's terrifying, isn't it? Because his previous offer was keeping the Glazers in place. What's his new offer going to be? This happens every year. It's the hope that kills you, says Henry T. Thank you very much, Henry. I think Anthony was overpriced. He's too predictable with always cutting in on his left wing, says Ajit. Qatar 0 up, 2-0 up, 10 minutes to go, says Butterbean. And last window United made transfer window profit was when Ronaldo was first bought in 2003. There isn't a transfer window in history United has ever made 100 million profit from the records. I've looked into it, says Daniel. I'm not even looking for £100 million profit. I'm just looking for £100 million in sales in one summer. I can't think of it. I mean, there's always the one that always jumps out to me, and it horrifies me to this day, was Hernandez, Van Persie, Nani, Johnny Evans, and I think it was Raphael for less than £20 million. And a lot of them players were still in their 20s. That's probably the worst summer I've ever witnessed. It was unbelievably bad. Hi Mark, do you remember when Ten Hag said in a press conference that he was told that there would be more investment in the team because of the sale? Do you think maybe he had been let down by that, says Eric? There's no maybes here. I mean, I'm just going to say it. There's no maybes here. There's nobody that can come out and say, oh, you're just being negative. Like, there's no maybe here. This summer transfer window has already failed the expectations that Erik Ten Hag set. We've already failed. Like, it's about what we can rescue from this point. This is now a rescue job. This is not an expedition. This is a rescue job. We have already failed this summer transfer window in what Erik Ten Hag wanted to achieve. He wanted deals done early for the pre-season tour, and he wanted certain players brought in. We already know for a fact that Harry Kane was his number one striker. Doesn't look like he's going to get him. We already know for a fact that Kim Min-jae was his number one centre-back. Doesn't look like he's going to get him. We already know for a fact that he wanted a Caicedo or probably more a Declan Rice. Not going to get him. He wanted Mason Mount done quickly. Still not been done. God knows when it'll be done. He wanted probably at least £100 million from sales. Nobody's been sold yet. So, of course, the window could be rescued. It could be rescued. But as far as things going to plan, no. It is like an expedition. It's like climbing a mountain. You set your path, the weather forecast looks good, and off you go. And within a very quick period of time, we've lost the map. It started a blizzard. We don't know where we are, and we're just heading in a direction, hoping for the best. Now, we still might hit the summit. It's very unlikely, but we still might hit the summit. We might come out of this okay. We might come out of this in a really bad way. But that is where we're at the moment. We've lost the map and we're in a blizzard and we can't see where we're going. It's not going to plan at the moment. And we don't need to speculate about ifs, buts or maybes. This is just not going to plan. We're very seasoned in summer transfer windows like this. Nobody can sit there and say, oh, stop being negative. You're all being really negative. We've seen this summer after summer after summer after summer. An inability to sell and an inability to be effective in getting the manager's targets in quickly. And that's where we're at the moment. Evening, who would you sign for centre-back as we won't get Kim Min-jae, says John. Look, as Fabrizio said on the show a month ago, keep an eye out for French centre-backs. We know we're in for the Monaco centre-back. There's another one. Is it Marseille or something? I forget the name now. I've completely had a brain blank. So I'd trust Fabrizio on that. I don't think we're in for Jurriën Timber. I don't like the Glazers, but certainly they've informed United on what the budget is. This is all down to Murta and Arnold, says FIFA Crazy. Yeah, look, the Glazers are the problem. But you're also right. The sale of Iqbal is a disgrace. That price is a joke. And the lack of sales and bringing players in, you're right, FIFA Crazy. There is a budget there. There is a budget there. You can't say we're not spending anything because of the Glazers. There is a budget there, and we're just not very good at it. Mark, can you please stop calling him Sir Jim? Sir Rat would be perfectly okay, says Michael. United feels very bleak at the moment, being honest. Do you think we will have a good summer, says Cruel? I don't know. Look, you know what? That's one thing I won't do. I'm not going to be overly negative. We can rescue this summer. I always like to rate a summer out of 10. I think if you'd given me Kim Min-jae, Casido, Mount, Kane, and another striker, I probably would have said in the circumstances that's a 9. At the moment, it feels like we'll do very well to get a 7. If we get anything better than that, we've done excellently well. It could be a 6, which is average. It could be a 5, below average. I don't actually think we'll end up with a 4 or anything like that. I don't think we'll have a disastrous summer. I just think it won't. Look, when you finish 3rd and you win a cup and you're in the Champions League, you need to follow that up with a 9. You have to. I won't accept a 7 or a 6. That's piss poor. When the players and the manager deliver against the odds, which I think they did, you've got to build on that fortune with a really effective, ambitious, solid summer transfer window. And I think at the moment we've got a case of the shits. This is utter balderdash. There should be laws against this sort of thing. The length of this sale process is completely unacceptable, says Envidu. And welcome to the Members Club, Zach. Thank you very much. Let's just have a quick look if we've got anything new coming in while we've been live. It's certainly could be the case tonight. You never know. You never know. It doesn't. The thing is, though, how many times have we done this? And how many times have we done this whereby we're and I remember doing this so many times. Hold on a minute. Let me just read this. How many times over the years have we said, we need to get something done by the end of this week. We need to get something done by the end of this week. I remember in previous years I've said things at the start of July and said, look, by the time we go on tour in the middle of July, we've got to have a couple of players. We can't go on tour without players, and we need to sell a couple either. And that couple of weeks goes like quicker than a sneeze, and you haven't sold anyone, you've not bought anyone in, and you go, the time is just moving by. And I'll admit, at the start of this week, I was like, we've got to come out of this week with at least one sale or one purchase or something to do with the actual club sale. And I already feel that this week we'll probably hit Friday and nothing will have happened. And I really hope something does happen by Friday on the sale, on a purchase of a player or the sale of a player. But 1 week, we're already into that thing, aren't we? The weeks are going by. I mean, it's the 20th of June already. I can't believe it's the 20th of June. It feels to me like it was the 1st of June a couple of days ago. And you're going, the transfer window's not even open yet. It's only the start of June. Well, it's the 20th of June. And nothing's happening. But this is something that happens every year as well. The window, just you blink and you miss it. What was it last year? Oh, John Murta's a brilliant sporting director of football. He gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning and he works till 10 o'clock at night. What does he do? He's lost his password. His internet's not working. He's playing bloody Cluedo or something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's wasting his time. Look, it's the same old stuff again, isn't it? It's just the transfer window is passing us by, and it needed to be a really good one. Unpopular opinion: cash in on Rashford straight out of 40 games a season, get 100 to 120 million. Danny, whether it's unpopular or not, he's not going anywhere. Marcus Rashford, he's not going anywhere. And I wouldn't sell Marcus Rashford. I think the simple thing is, Dean Henderson gives you 25 million. Fred gives you 15. That's 40 straight away. Brandon Williams probably gives you 10. That's 50 million. McTominay gives you 25. That's 75 million. Maguire gives you another 30. That's 105 million. I've got 105 million there. Eric Bailly, Tellez, if you're lucky, another 10, 115 million. I mean, 115 million is not to be sniffed at, and you've got rid of players that you need to get rid of. Henderson, Williams, Maguire, McTominay, Fred, Tellez, and Bailly. And you've got 115 million. That's 7 players out and 115 million in. And I'm not over-egging the pudding on those prices either. You know, you might get 130. You might end up with 100. But you made yourself 100 million pounds on players that do need to go. That's how you do it. But, Alanga as well. Robert's right. Alanga could be another 15 million there. So you could easily raise around 120 million. Easily. But if you add that to the 220 million we're meant to have, that's over 200 million pounds. But, and I wouldn't be, what I will say in defence of United is I wouldn't be too worried about the sales if I had any confidence that we'll actually do them. And what I mean by that is, I don't actually expect us to sell all our players in June. I actually think sales for those types of players probably do happen in July and August, to be fair. Because there won't be many clubs in June going, get me Scott McTominay, get me Harry Maguire, get me Brandon Williams. They are the sort of deals that clubs will go, we want that player or we can't get him, let's try McTominay. So I accept that. Those deals probably will happen later in the transfer window. But will they? Will we actually do those deals? I think Fred and Henderson, they can happen quickly because I think Fulham would look at Fred and go, yeah, we definitely want him. We want him on pre-season. Let's get him. I think Nottingham Forest will look at Dean Henderson and go, oh, yeah, we definitely want Henderson. Let's go and get that done quick. But we haven't. I don't think that's going to happen with a lot of the players we're trying to sell. But will it happen at all? How come we aren't interested in Jonathan David, says James? Because he ain't good enough. In my opinion. Mark, keep an eye on the Anthony situation. He didn't post anything from the end of the season. I hope everything will be okay, but I have a bad feeling, says Daniel. Look, Daniel, Mason Greenwood, Anthony, if they've done things, if they've been accused of things, they're not football related. And it's very, very difficult to predict how they're going to go. Mason Greenwood's not played football for 18 months. I obviously, from a completely utterly human level, I hope there's no truth in the allegations against Anthony. But we have been down this road before, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens because, we're human beings at the end of the day. We can't just say, well, whether he's done it or not, I hope he gets away with it, because we've got to be empathetic to the fact that there could be a victim in the case. But I don't really know enough about it. I don't know what's going on with it. And look, you know what? I really hope there's nothing in it, because as a football club, we don't want to have to go through what we went through with Mason Greenwood, do we? We don't want that to happen, basically, because it wasn't very nice for anybody involved. But look, I don't know. I really don't know. And look, Ronaldo had that thing, didn't he? He wasn't a Man United player at the time. Footballers get accused of things. Some footballers do things, but I can't comment on the Anthony situation. The only thing I would comment on the Anthony situation is, and I don't know whether you saw it, it was Gabby Agbonlahor on bloody TalkSport again, gobbing off about Anthony because Saka played well against some farmers last night. I do not know what Anthony's done to Gabby, but must have snubbed him for an autograph. I don't know. But look, things will come out in time, I suppose. Mark, don't want to happen, but as a Frankfurt like Lindelof, do you see cash swap deal for Mawani, says Leo J. I don't want Lindelof to go. But again, he's a player that you could sell quite quickly because he's good. Same with Wan-Bissaka. Mark, the trend under the Glazers has always been such that when we have qualified for the Champions League, we haven't backed the manager. The last time we were in the Champions League, we signed Pellistri, Ahmad and Cavani, says Mojo. Well, there you go. Wasn't that the Donny summer as well? I think it might have been. Anyway, look, I just want to say what a fantastic show tonight. You are a bunch of legends. Nearly 20,000 of you. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for tuning in. Obviously, if anything does break majorly, we're ready to go on the channel. So make sure you smash a like and subscribe. But I just want to say thank you to everybody. We're in it together. It becomes therapy at times in the transfer window, but look, let's just hope for some positivity soon, because it's just getting a little bit concerning, isn't it? Don't forget, we've been sponsored by BoohooMan. 40% off by scanning the QR code and using the code GoldBridge. Check out the link in the video description as well if you don't want to scan the QR code. You'll find loads of t-shirts, shorts, gym wear, you know, casual wear, reasonably priced, but with 40% off with the code GoldBridge, you can really get some good stuff. Take care. I'll speak to you all soon.